Welcome back, everybody. Well, Business Insider is out with its 50 most underrated colleges in America, and Cambridge-based CollegeVine helped compile that list.
One of the founders of the college prep and consulting company is here with us tonight, Vinay Bhaskara. Thank you so much for coming in.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, how did you come up with this list of the most underrated colleges in America?
Yeah, so when you look at traditional college rankings lists like U.S. News or Forbes or the Washington Post, typically what they will do in their rankings is focus a lot on the traditional things that drive prestige, right? So, the ranking, the acceptance rate, the SAT score, some of those factors that come into play. But one factor that we feel like a lot of lists underrate as a company that helps families navigate the college admissions process and build, school lists is the financial element of college applications, right? College is the single biggest or the second biggest financial decision that most families will make, right, after maybe buying a house. And to underrate the degree to which you want to look at the cost of the university as well as the kind of outcomes that students have after graduation, we feel like that's an aspect of college admissions that families don't take into account.
You're really
enough.
looking at bang for your buck.
Exactly.
So let's talk about some of these schools on the list, because parents who have juniors and seniors in high school have a whole list of schools in their memory bank that might not apply anymore. So tell us why the top 3 underrated schools are San Jose State, University of Houston, and Binghamton University.
Yeah, so really when we were looking at this list and putting together the data, one of the biggest trends that popped out to us is the degree to which location matters for these universities, right? A lot of times when you look at a university and the kinds of jobs that its graduates get, obviously prestigious universities like a Dartmouth or a NESCAC school are going to have companies recruiting there regardless of where they're located. But when you sort of go beyond the obvious top 10 or 20 colleges, a lot of times what's going to drive the success of graduates is its location. So if you look at these 3 schools, San Jose State, the University of Houston, and SUNY Binghamton, right, they're all located in proximity to some of the hottest job markets in America. San Jose State is located in the heart of Silicon Valley, and it actually has more graduates working at the top 100 Silicon Valley firms than Stanford and UC Berkeley combined, because it's just such a big school and there's so many jobs, right? The University of Houston is located in Houston, which has been, a boom town for the last 20 years, and SUNY Binghamton is probably the most prestigious state school with proximity to New York City.
And some local schools make the list as well. Number 6 was Worcester Polytechnic Institute, better known as WPI here. Babson College was number 9, and 10 was Wellesley College. Why did these make the list?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit different for each of those schools. So for WPI, right, it's a really strong tech school. That's pretty affordable for a lot of families, particularly from Massachusetts. And again, it's in proximity to Boston, which, as I'm sure you both know, has become a massive tech hub in the last 20 years. With Wellesley and Babson, the thing about those 2 schools is that they actually produce, when you look just at the economic outcomes, they're about on par with the Ivy League schools in terms of the average earnings, the average amount of debt that their graduates come out of school with. But they're typically ranked lower than that, right? Wellesley, for women in particular, is about on par with the top 3 or 4 schools in the country, but it's not necessarily ranked that way.
Just because it's a women's college. Here's the really interesting thing about CollegeVine, because you use an algorithm, sort of like a lot of parents use Naviance, right, to plot out which schools kids should apply to. But yours includes which schools will give you the most money, and you help students kind of negotiate among schools and offers. Talk about how that works.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that a lot of families don't realize is that you can actually negotiate your aid offers, whether it's a scholarship or financial aid. And typically the way you're going to do that is by getting accepted to multiple colleges with different scholarship packages and then kind of picking your top choice college and using the other schools to negotiate. So we coach families through that process as to, how you should approach these universities, what you should say, what things to avoid. We give them basically a playbook for negotiating additional merit aid. And I mean, last year we had some pretty strong results. We've had multiple students increase their aid by more than $100,000 over 4 years by using our playbook.
That's real money.
Something I didn't even know you could do when I was applying to college, but I guess you can, and it works. What is one piece of advice, last question, you would give to high school juniors who are college hopefuls?
Sure, yeah. I think the biggest thing that I would say is when you're making your school list, don't just look at the big names. You want to look at a balanced list of schools that includes some local and state options where you're likely to get scholarships.
The list, the list, the list.
The list. Vinay Bhaskara with CollegeVine. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. And Eric is going to